We're all living in a world gone geek. It's time to geek hard or go home. The podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
Hey everybody, that's right. I am Jeff, also known as Grounded Geek, and it is another episode of the podcast is real here from World Gone Geek. This is an exciting time. We got a great show for you tonight, great guest that we're going to talk to in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to talk about an event that happened this weekend that Utah and I took part in. But I don't want to talk to myself about it, so let's bring Utah in. Hey, Utah, what's up,
Oh, no,
man?
I'm big. No,
Yeah.
make me smaller.
And also Aaliyah is here with us. Whoa, your camera is a different quality today.
What happened?
I know what's going on with that.
Oh,
I'm trying to fix it.
Are you?
It's fine. We'll put you in the small window and it won't be as noticeable.
You're joining us via satellite
from 1997.
from 1995.
I don't know. Did you switch your camera to 720? Is that a thing in this one? I know in StreamYard.
Yeah. In Restream you can switch it up.
So
yeah,
to 1080.
it's on 720.
All right.
It looks better now. So
It does look better.
And it was on the 1080.
Are you using a 1200 baud modem? That could be the problem too. I don't know.
What?
You don't even know what that is.
You don't even know what that is.
No, I have no idea.
You are
all right.
not nearly
So those of you who are just
that.
tuning in, reason we're doing this and is we're using a new software, a new program here tonight, and basically, as I now have on my soundboard, it wouldn't be a World Gone Geek show if there weren't technical difficulties. That's right. So I can just play that whenever now instead of because I always have to say it every episode. So
I almost
we had
feel
some
like
technical difficulties.
That should be like the disclaimer at the beginning or at the end of the episode, right?
I know, right?
Like those
and then
lawyers.
followed shortly by
What's up with that?
and then yeah. So this weekend was Extra Life. Extra Life is a 24-hour gaming marathon to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. The police are arriving at someone's house. Literally.
You said, Jeff, you said
that
you said that too early, Jeff. They're coming to get you now.
Is that you guys or is that here?
It's not here.
That is you. They're coming for you.
Here?
That is you.
Yeah.
They're coming for you.
You're right.
They're
That's
coming
the
for
thing.
you.
I live so close to the
Or
firehouse.
somebody in your house.
It doesn't make sense that I do a podcast and audio show because I do interviews in the afternoon and giant trucks drive by. The landscapers come next door to do the mowing. It always happens to me. So I figure Sunday night we're safe. But then, I guess the police and the fire are going to come out. But anyway, that's not even a technical difficulty that ruined the show today. It was
Technically, it is not a technical difficulty.
I thought maybe somebody swatted me. I'm like, what? But no, we participated in Extra Life this weekend, which is a 24-hour gaming marathon to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. It's an awesome event. It takes place nationwide. It's all over the place. Here in Cleveland, Utah and I do that for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Utah, why don't you briefly tell them why that's important to you?
So our local Children's Miracle Network hospital is University Hospital's Rainbow Babies and Children's. And our young son Tycho had open heart surgery when he was 1 year old. Sorry, over there. And as a parent, it's kind of a really, really, I don't want to say traumatic, but it's definitely a very emotionally charged thing when your baby has to have such an invasive procedure. And we had an incredible experience there. Everyone there treated us like family. And so I always feel like I have to give back somehow. And this is one of the ways that I do that is Extra Life. So,
yeah. And I used to work there for many, many years. Got to know a lot of patients and families, got close with several of them. And then I haven't worked there in almost seven years now. I think, this is my seventh year at Highland. So 7 years ago, I stopped working there. But every year I go back for St. Baldrick's to shave my head for pediatric cancer research. And then so I'm doing that for 10 years. And then we've done this for 10 years. And last year, my daughter was at Rainbow getting chemo, found out she had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And, they took excellent care of her. She's now NED. and which is no evidence of disease. We say Ned is in the building. That's how we refer to that. So when Ned is in the building, it's a good thing. And she's doing great. Got married in May, and thanks to Rainbow, she was very, very well taken care of, and we're grateful for that. But it's not the happy story for everybody. Obviously, Utah and I both had happy stories that led out of there, but they tend to make the stay feel like home for everybody. Rainbow treats the patients with such care, and
the families too.
That's true, and that's the point. I'm going to show this picture because it's fun. Here is it's upside down.
Hey, wow, well, that's where we're standing on our head.
Here is Utah and I in 2012. That was the first year we did the event actually in the hospital.
Yeah.
They don't do it that way anymore. But this is I can't point when I'm behind it. Donnie and Javon here were a couple of patients that did the 24-hour marathon with us. Javon was very sick at the time, got admitted, passed away a couple months later, unfortunately, but he wanted to give back. He wanted to be a part of this because that's how he felt about Rainbow. So he was an inspiration to us to keep going too.
Yep.
So the good news is, as a team, we raised $3,079.
Right?
We did. We beat it by $79, which is pretty cool. Well, a large portion of that was Utah's. My goal was 1,000. Utah's was 2,000. I got 810. So thankfully, your donors helped make up for my shortfall. We still met the goal. But hey, if you want to donate, there's still time.
There's still time.
Just look for Grounded Geek at extra-life.
Technically, it's till the end of the year.
Yeah, so. There's plenty of time. But no, it all goes to the same place. Obviously, it's not a competition. We were trying to do this for the hospital, and collectively, gamers in Cleveland raised over $97,000 for the hospital.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing. I haven't seen the total from nationwide for the whole Extra Life. Did you happen to catch that?
They did something on their Instagram story earlier today.
Yeah, I haven't been on anything,
but I don't remember because and they also
you've been sleeping all day.
I've only been up for a few hours. So
I mean, you finished at 8 o'clock this morning, so we did it. We kind of overlapped our time. I started Friday night, went through Saturday night, and played together for about 12 hours during the overlap, and then you continued through the night. So
here we go. I'd show you the camera, but you're big on the screen.
I see. Now I keep doing that.
But there's the latest year to date.
Look at that.
That Extra Life has raised for
over 10 over $10 million
for children's
gamers have raised for children's hospitals. It's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty excellent.
It's fantastic.
And we're proud of those guys, and we're proud to be a part of that. So exciting. Aaliyah, you're gonna have to do it with us next year. We're gonna have to get you doing 24 hours of some sort of game. You work so hard though. You got too many jobs and all these things. So
hey, you know what? Here's the thing though, as Karen pointed out the other day, you know what? There are games on this little thing that you hold in your hand,
or board games, role-playing games.
And then I joked, or mind games.
When I was younger and Guitar Hero came out, my sister and I. We used to try to stay up all night and like beat the entire thing. And I remember just being like barely even playing, almost passing out.
You were sleep playing.
Yes. And I would try so hard to stay up all night. I want to.
Is that something we can do? I still have Rock Band 4 for my Xbox One. I've got all the instruments, including the drums. We should do a World Gone Geek rock band marathon.
Yes.
I've got over 1,000 songs.
I would love that.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I have Rock Band too. I don't have 1,000 songs. I have just the ones I like. No, I don't. We did buy a bunch of songs extra too. It is a lot of fun. Me and the kids used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
So did you guys just play PC games, or was it?
I was mostly on PlayStation, just because PlayStation and Xbox, just because they're the easiest to hook up to, my setup for streaming. So,
and I was on Xbox the whole time. So,
okay.
But
we just got a donation.
Did we really?
I just saw the
total.
Or me? I don't know. I just saw the total go up to 3,100 even.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody. You're right. Let's see. I can look at that. Literally,
it just popped up.
And there's my notification. It was Extra Life donation received.
Some guy named Shane Salk.
What? Are you serious?
Who's that? Who is this?
You're joking. I can't see it.
Who's this yeah, I don't. I think that's Shane. Is that how you pronounce that, Shane? Yeah.
I don't know. That's a spoiler alert for later in the episode if it's true. I have to. Oh my gosh, it is true. All right, we're gonna have to talk about that in a minute. Thank you, Shane. That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Everybody will know why we think that's hilarious in just a second. All right, so yeah,
they already know it was on the cover.
That's true. I did say Shane Salk was going to be on the show. It was and advertised on Twitter all week.
Wait, he's going to be on the show?
He's next. He's coming up in just a few minutes. Yeah. So we can thank him in person. Actually, he's listening to everything we're saying right now. But yeah, Extra Life, it's such an amazing opportunity. If you're interested, you should definitely check out it yourself. It's a do-it-yourself fundraiser, which is just awesome. So all you have to do is sign up
on the website. Yeah,
they give you a website that you can raise money on. You give out that link to people. They do all the processing. Like, you don't have to collect money. You can collect money and send it in too. But yeah, you can just hand out that. It integrates with Facebook fundraisers now, so you can actually raise donate through Facebook.
They'll give you a cool T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I am not wearing mine.
Well, it's because I slept in this.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. And so real quick, before we do get to our guests, we do have one more thing about games that we wanted to mention. So we are having a contest. I'm going to bring this up on the screen.
Oh yeah.
Through the month of November, called our Road to 4K. So we're trying to hit 1,000 members and followers on these 4 platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So we're trying to grow those areas where we have a lot more in YouTube than any of those others. So we're just trying to kind of get it spread out there. So what do you do to enter this contest? Well, I'm going to bring up this little QR code. So if you're actually watching, you can scan it on your phone. You can enter the contest just by following us on all those things. So it's one of those where if you go to the website and you it'll say like here, follow here, do all these links. You follow those things, you get entries for those. And that's it. That's awesome.
Ooh, the QR code worked.
Yeah, it does. You can't enter. You're not eligible.
Too late. No, I'm just kidding.
Aaliyah and you are not eligible because you are part of the show. That wouldn't. What would it be like?
I just clicked too.
What would it be like on December? Well, first of all, if you're not following us on those channels already, you're fired. You're not on the show anymore.
Well, I don't have Twitter, so
that's fine. That's fine.
You have TikTok.
You're probably better off as a result. Trust me. That's probably
Twitter's not Twitter's an interesting.
That's going on a whole month of November. We're having a show on December 5th where we will give it away. And it would look really awkward if I just basically handed it through the screen to one of you guys and you had it because, so we're not going to do that. You're not eligible. But just to prove, here it is, sealed in box. It's a Stadia Premier Edition. Google Stadia is awesome. Like, I was like, how can this possibly work? Cloud gaming is not going to work. People have bad internet connections. But even before I had Fiverr. I do. Wait. I am on Fiverr if you want to hire me to do anything. But Fiverr.
Nothing technical.
You need
now.
Fiverr?
I'm gonna get a Fiverr request for a job from Shane Salk now. That's what's gonna happen because I threw that out there. I'm kidding.
Who is this Shane Salk? Why is he?
I have fiber now, so obviously the connection is even better. But even back when I had crappy Spectrum, regular internet, I was on the beta.
I have Spectrum.
They're not going to be as well.
I'm not going to start. You got to watch the Saturday Night Live skit they did on Spectrum this weekend. It is absolutely.
Is it spot on?
Spot on, because it's almost word for word the conversation I had with them when I canceled. It's so
you
funny.
Can't cancel. That's the problem. You can't.
You have to watch it. Yeah,
they don't have
what the thing is about.
They don't. They send you to what is it called? Customer reacquisition.
They tried to keep me, for sure. But I was like, nope, sorry. I just did a speed test and it was 928 up and 946 down. I'm not gonna. I'm switching. Anyway, but before that,
Once you
Stadia
go fiber,
worked great. I was on the beta. They actually got invited. I signed up and got invited to the beta and played Assassin's Creed Odyssey through the Odyssey or Origins. I think it was Odyssey through Stadia back when they were testing it. And I was like, how is this possible? It was really good. So you could win one and try it for yourself. And the great thing is, if it doesn't work, you got it for free because you won. So you're not out any money just to test this new technology.
And then you can put it on eBay.
Exactly. We'll all sign it. Maybe it'll be worth more.
There you go.
Just kidding. I'd have to open it to sign. I'm not going to do that. All right. That all said, so enter the contest December 5th. We'll give it away. DC, the Brain Supreme, is actually going to be on the show that day, December 5th. He wasn't able to make it previously because of some Windows 10 mail
some technical difficulties.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a World Gone Geek show if there weren't technical difficulties. And there really were. I'm going to explain those when that happens.
When that episode drops, yeah.
What a crazy situation that was.
There it is.
He's really awesome, and he's coming on the show December 5th. So that'll be awesome. But tonight we have a special guest, Shane Salk. He's an award-winning audio drama producer and voice actor. And I got to tell you, his work is incredible. It's really amazing to hear. We're going to hear a sample of it here in this trailer, and then we will bring him on the show and talk to him about this awesome stuff that he does.
In the abstruse land of Aru, full of regal countrysides and rayless forests.
Miss me!
The once halcyon days now gone.
Your hand is mine now. What? Get him out of here.
And people resolve to lives separated from each other.
We all know how dangerous the magic can be. It's best the child comes with us.
No!
A prophecy passed down, followed by believers.
You're a prophecy hunter.
It has to be part of something bigger. If I let myself think they died for nothing,
Will set forth the path for the one.
I had a dream. I was the chosen one. I saw myself saving everyone.
Of course you did.
Leading the land of Aru back to its days of yore.
Fire!
What are you doing?
I'll kill you! We'll never survive!
Linus, trust me.
Mother!
Wow, there he is. Shane Salk, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Awesome.
So much. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Can you hear me? Can everyone?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. 'Cause I was just. I'm gonna win this thing. I don't even know what it is, but I'm doing all the things. I'm getting all the entries.
Hey, we appreciate that. That's awesome. And you know what? So for the month of November, I actually told folks. Well, it's only the contest is the month of November. I told folks yesterday that if they donated through Extra Life, they would get extra bonus entries for every $5. So you're going to get 4 extra entries
for Extra Life.
I
just for doing that.
Stand by. What is 79? How did
right?
That just
that is a weird number.
It made me uncomfortable, so I had to bump it. If my show was doing better, I would have gotten you up to your goal. But
no, that's awesome.
No, thank
oh
you
my
so
gosh.
Much.
So that was the trailer for your new show, which is kind of amazing. There's a lot of the production value on this is just mind blowing. Like it's
it's fantastic.
So realistic. Everything that is going on in the show is it just sounds like you're immersed in it. I mean, I heard if you guys heard, Neil Flynn was in there.
The cast is incredible.
The dad from The Middle, and he was the janitor on Scrubs.
He was a janitor in Scrubs.
Yeah. I love that guy. His voice is unmistakable. So as soon as I heard him in the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to listen to the show. I'm now 16 episodes in.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's amazing. And it is just for those of you who are wondering, about listening to this, it does not go the direction you think it's going to go. Like there's some twists literally in like the second and third episodes, like it's just like defies some of your expectations and goes and it's awesome. It's really fun.
My favorite is if you go in to look at some of the like podcast reviews on certain platforms, there's one that was like, I mean, I'll give this a shot, but after the first episode, that seems pretty. I mean, it sounds good, but the story is so cliche and blah, blah, blah. And then literally the next thing he's like,
oh my,
okay, well, I might have been wrong. And he's like trying to like talk himself. It was pretty funny.
Backpedal a little
That's
bit.
awesome. Well, I wouldn't have called it cliche at all. I mean, but I definitely like, it's
If you
with
don't
any
get
story,
past
you
the
start
first like 10 minutes, I could be
Yeah.
like, I
Well,
guess maybe.
anytime you read a story or do any kind of or watch a movie, you have expectations. You start to kind of think, I know where this is going, and this doesn't go there. It does things that are unexpected. It's pretty
Well,
fun.
that's what we try anyway. That's our goal. We don't want you to be able to sit back and go, I know what's going to happen. We literally, when we were having writers week meetings and stuff, we wanted to we had this idea because there are all these these standards, these tropes, these things. So we'd sit there and go, well, what's the trope? And they're like, well, this is the trope. And we're like, great, how can we screw with that? And we have some amazing, so I'll say all of the people that you mentioned, all Neil Flynn, Jane Lynch, you heard in that trailer, all of these people really donated their time. I mean, we pay, we're very union centric, so we pay union minimums and everything, but none of these people got paid what they deserve. And I would say the same thing. We had some writer weekends and we brought in some friends and some writers, and none of them, everybody's doing this because they love the medium, they believed in what we were doing. But we had these writers weekends, and at one point one of them was like, well, we can't do that because the people in this this fantasy community would be really upset about that. And me and Bill Holmes, who's my producing partner, we kind of just look at each other and we're like, so we're doing that, right? That's what's going to happen now. We're like, yeah, that's clearly what's going to happen.
That's awesome.
Well,
it's a lot of fun. I definitely want to talk to you a little bit about working with some of the actors that you're working with, because there's some amazing ones in there.
There's some great names.
But before they would do that, I want to kind of hear about how you started getting in this, why you started. I will tell you that at first I didn't. So I saw you, I think, on Podcast Guests or something. I contacted you because you had listed yourself there, and I'm like, oh, audio drama, I love that. I listened to audio dramas. It was one of the first genres within podcasting that I really got sucked into, and that kind of led to me deciding to podcast as well. I've loved them since I was a kid, but when I finally read through your entire bio and stuff, like after you had agreed to be on the show, I found out you were on We're Alive, which was and helped produce that. And that's one of the first audio dramas I listened to on podcast.
Yeah.
And I binged that thing straight through. I binged through the prison one, and it reminded me that I haven't listened since then, that now there's an Old West one, I guess, chapter in that story. I got to go back and check, but
yeah. Well,
that's a great one.
Yeah, I was one of the creators of We're Alive back. We launched that thing in 2009. My backstory in terms of audio dramas, I grew up listening to them. I'm pretty sure my parents just wanted to keep me off of TV or something, and an uncle sent us cassette tapes of old audio dramas, Gunsmoke, Suspense, and I can name a whole bunch more that you've not heard of probably. But I grew up listening to those things, and when we started, when we came up with the idea of doing an audio drama for We're Alive, all of those hours and hours and hours of my listening to these things had a purpose. It was amazing. And I always even high school and that I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to make one of these one day. And my whole thing from We're Alive and on is to take this medium and utilize, the newer technologies, the new sound effects, these things, and do what they do with, blockbuster movies. It's and just take away the visuals. And so it's not about, leaning on this novelty of an audio drama and going, oh, it's an audio drama, we can get away with things. It's like, well, what do people get away with that we don't want to let ourselves off the hook? So it is a very immersive experience. And I mean, We're Alive, we started right out of college, and with the writing and the sound effects and the soundscapes, that was the goal. And then when I moved on, I've done a number of other things. I did a version of A Christmas Carol with Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson, and Bill Holmes. We produced it together, who's my producing partner now. Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson are Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah,
They're
Oh, yeah.
also
they're
100
amazing.
million other things that you've heard of, and they're
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
And they had so much fun doing that they're like, well, anything you guys need, come on back, give us a call.
That's awesome.
So I had wanted to upgrade sort of the quality and the way that we produced, or the way I produced these things for a while. So I spent a long time trying to sort of raise money or gather these team members, and so it's not letting yourself off the hook, and it elevates this to this other quality. And after many years of trying to lean on the We're Live stuff and trying to find, the amount of times I sat down with somebody and they'd go, okay, so what do you want to do? And I'd tell them, and they're like, no one's going to listen to that. Tell me why somebody would listen to that. And I go, well, why am I talking to you if you've already decided I'm an idiot? Thanks. So it was many years of trying to find these teams. And also, while we were producing this, we've done things with Carcerum, and this is a brag, but we've done things with Carcerum that I did not think were possible in terms of, we talk about it like it's a film. We don't talk about it in terms of sounds. We talk it in terms of, well, what's the shot? What's the perspective? What's, the camera's moving around in these directions. How does that work? And it's pretty, each fight, we choreograph each fight with the sword. We got a lot of swords. It's sort of a mix between Game of Thrones meets Princess Bride. And, for every sword fight, it's very specifically choreographed of, there's a sword here. Hey, it's a tink, tink, sweep the legs, fall on your back, roll, get up. It's the specifics of what you have going on. And does it all work? That's not up, that's up to the audience, but we don't say, well, that can't be done, and don't try it. We always try it. And there are things that don't make it out the door because, we're listening to them like, yeah, that doesn't work.
Amazing.
But that's how I sort of got into it, was I listened to this stuff, and I know, I know what I loved growing up, and I know, the old time radios, they would do things like, I remember there was an old show called Nick Carter, Master Detective, that I really loved, but there's one scene that always sticks out of my mind where he's breaking into somebody's office, and he's outside on the fire escape or something, and he just goes, I'm just gonna jimmy this window, and I'm like, if you're breaking into someone's office,
you're not narrating it.
Shut up.
Right. Who are you talking to?
Why are you talking?
Trying to tell the audience what he's doing. I've watched movies that are that obvious though too. It's like, or it's some television shows, especially the ones where there are two experts talking about something, and they're talking to each other and they're explaining it, and I'm like, the dude has the same degree as you. Like, you know what I mean? Why are you telling him that how this works? And it just cracks me up.
Right, it's because they're telling.
It's obviously for our benefit.
It's obviously telling the audience.
Comes across so weird.
But I will say I totally agree. And one of the things about writing for radio, in my opinion, is that write it like it's a movie. Write it as if everybody can see what's happening. And then if you get to the script and you're going through and you're like, this isn't clear, won't be clear. It is very important that everybody knows it's a red door and not whatever color they see in their mind. It has to be red. Find a way that it's not awkward to talk about. It doesn't have to be, hey, look, it's that red door. It's there can
Morgan
be
Freeman
a conversation.
In a voiceover.
Exactly. There can be a conversation. And if you want to have a narrator, go for it. I mean, We're Live, we use the sort of the gimmick of the journals because it was a very good way to, make that happen without a narrator, because I really didn't want a narrator. But we have one, but it doesn't feel the same way of like a omnipotent thing. It's just such a Wild West time right now. We're in the beginning of, with all this audio stuff, we are where film was in the like 20s and 30s and 40s, where it's like, they're like, well, what is a film? they started out, filming a play and going, is this a film? And they go, well, maybe we can do different shots. They're like, is this a film? And they just keep evolving. And we're doing that now with audio. And that's what makes it so very exciting. And it's not a question of, will that work? It's, well, I wonder if we can try it, because we don't have any idea if it's going to work. And that's why, we're very about quality of work, and it's very exciting to work with Bill, and for him and I to both go, we don't know if this is going to work, but we're definitely going to try it, because if it does, it would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Aaliyah, you were talking earlier about how you were enjoying it and wished that it would be a TV show.
Yeah. So, I will say that I'm big on visuals. I'm definitely a visual person. And so at first I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get into this, like I gotta be able to see the action.
Yeah.
But as I was listening, I really started to become more engulfed in these characters' lives. I love character development, so it's like something that I'm like, yes, give me more. And so as I was listening, I was just like, oh, this is really good, and I was a skeptic. I'm gonna be very honest. I was so skeptical.
You are the majority of people.
But it brought me back. Now that you're talking, it really brought me back to when I was a kid. And I was, that kid that liked to listen to a cassette while reading a book. I would do I would do both. And just because I really like to be able to hear the way that somebody is speaking versus just in our own brains. But I do think
my brain is a horrible place. I gotta be honest with you.
But I definitely think that as a TV show, it would be phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie.
And I don't disagree with you. I think, if anybody's out there listening, we have half of a cartoon. The sounds and the voice actors we have and all the stuff. We have half of a cartoon. And one of the things that I feel very strongly is sometimes people do an audio drama or audio thing and go, well, this is a proof of concept for the TV show or the movie or anything like that. I think that it should stand on its own to start with. I want to make something that stands on its own. It's its own entity, and then it can move into something else. One of the things that I love is when people come up to us, because it's happened. Bill's son once said, he's like, it's like I'm reading a book, but I'm not reading. And we're like,
yes.
It excites those parts of your mind.
Yes.
And the great thing about not having visuals is you see something that you want to see. I have people coming up to me all the time where they're like, oh, when they were running up that hill or when they were, when they're in that tavern, which was like beautiful and ornate and all this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't design a hill or innate anything. You saw that when you were hearing it. It was you're a better visual designer than I am. I'll guarantee you, because you see it all in your head. And we just give you sort of specific, actions and sounds and stuff, but you really are the designer in your head. And that's really very exciting for us. But I would love to see this, I want to see fan art. I want to know what different creatures look like to the fans. A cartoon. And the other thing that's I've really gotten into in the last 10 years or so is realizing that the visually impaired community and the sighted community are experiencing something the same way.
Wow.
It's an amazing thing of, let's say we do add visuals. We do make this into an animated series. You can experience it without seeing it the same way. And you can have a shared experience with a lot of different people, whether you're listening to it, whether you're watching it, or any of that nature. And it's just so exciting and like I said, it activates different parts of the mind. But I am not against turning it into a TV show.
All right, it's on the record.
There we go. Yeah, well, you said if anyone is out there listening, they're not. Not to this show. I'm sorry, Shane.
Not yet.
I'm kidding.
My mother might be. You don't know.
Well, all right, guys, you hear that? We got to watch our language.
That's right. Well, that's another. I'm just gonna real quickly. So we are a family friendly show. We typically don't have a lot of language or whatever. And then I just realized in the trailer that they did say
they
shit
talked about
in
poop.
there.
He did say
yeah.
shit.
But that's not the end of the world. But I was just like, oh well, there you go. I guess now we have you managed to slip in the first. Well, that's not true. On our game show, we got to watch out for Matt and some of the other guys that come on our show. But
everybody
at
poops.
least
Everybody poops.
That's right. It's totally fine. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was in the trailer. Too fun. It was
the
great.
language in the whole show. The language does not get worse than that.
No, it's not bad at all. No. Or at least not in the 16 episodes that I've listened to.
There's one episode that we call the curse episode, and it's just a lot of swearing. And, no.
Was that the goal for that episode? How many times can we?
How many times? No, it was that's in there because that is the worst that is ever said.
Yeah,
so you get it from the get-go. That makes sense.
It's like that one scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that got it an R rating. Have you seen that movie? John?
Yes. Yeah, that's a classic.
The scene at the rental car.
The rental car counter.
He drops about 78 F-bombs in like in a minute and a half.
Yep.
And it was so perfect. Like they couldn't possibly cut that out. It was the perfect
that makes
culmination of everything that's happened to him.
Yeah.
It might be offensive to some people, but it was the best part of that movie. Yeah, and it was definitely called for in that situation. I think we all felt for him at that point. But yeah, that's they like squeezed it all into there, and you would think that he would get away with it for that 30 seconds, but they're like, nope, too many.
No, they have the MPAA's got a counter.
Yeah,
they do it. They do that in another. It was like the sequel to Get Shorty, whatever that was called.
Oh,
I can't remember, but I think the opening scene, they're literally talking about how to get a PG-13 rating.
That's funny.
And you can say you can say swears like once or twice, and they do it right at the beginning, and then they have the PG-13 for the rest of the movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's amazing. Yeah. That's incredible.
So, I am curious to know, how did you, what inspired you to start creating these audio dramas? Was it just college? Was it because of that childhood? What really, or did you even see yourself doing this at all? Did you have a completely different career? And then
it was the cassette tapes.
Yeah. I've been an idiot for most of my life, so that had a lot to do with it. No. The childhood thing definitely was a huge part of it. I graduated college in 2008, and anybody that remembers that time, there were very few jobs. I went to theater. I mean, I'm an actor at heart. I've been to. I have a theater degree. I've performed in New York, LA, across the country. I've performed internationally with Disney. So I'm a performer at heart. But one of the things about being a performer is that a lot of, especially when I first graduated, I would get very discouraged because a lot of it is waiting for someone else to give you a job, and that's just not really the kind of person I am. I want to work and do what I want to do. So coming out of school, you couldn't just start making movies, and they cost a lot. And we came up with the idea of doing the radio series because we had access to a sound studio at our college. So that's kind of the start of the conversation. And it was always something that I wanted to do, but it never was something that I was like, oh, this is the career that I'm going to go into, because frankly, who does that anymore? And then podcasts started coming around, and it started to be a thing. And the more we got into the development of what things sounded like and how you do this kind of storytelling, the more and more exciting it got. It's not the only thing I do, but it is something that I feel very strongly that I think this is where entertainment industry is going, and I've been doing it for 10 years, and I really, really enjoy it. That kind of is how I started doing it, is because I loved this idea of going, well, I know this old time style, but what is the new time style? And it was at the time, it was way cheaper. And nobody was doing it. And so, 10 years I was trying to convince people that like this is a viable art form. And, it's only in the last couple of years that I think that their major companies are going, I see the artistic merit in what's happening. And it is very difficult, especially with the new, this new streaming, the, Netflix, Hulu, all these things, because it's not about one show making money. Netflix isn't like, well, this one show makes money, then we're fine, because it's a subscription based thing. And so there are podcasting networks and platforms that are going, well, we make really good stuff, but we need to make a whole bunch of it. And that's why I kind of say we're the HBO of audio, because we put a lot into one story, one effort. This is the way it's going. It's a growing world, but it's still very uncertain of how it's supposed to work. And I've had numerous people try to tell me, you're like, well, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. And I just kind of look at them and go, you have no idea. You saying you have to do this just shows me you don't really know, because nobody does. And I mean, I had so many people say this, the show was not going to be good. There's no way it could be good. And I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you. You just don't understand what we're trying to do. And you don't have there's no reason they should, but they don't have the imagination. They don't have the technical, like, knowledge of how to make the sound effects work. We would have arguments and arguments and arguments all over the place of what makes it better, what makes it worse, for Carcerum. And it was always, the joy of it was always that whenever we would fight and argue and scream and yell, it was always because somebody believed that it would make the show better. No ego involved whatsoever. It was always, I know I'm not fighting for, because you really want to put your name on something. It's always for the show. But at the very beginning of the first episode, somebody picks up a rock and throws it.
Yes.
I hope that's not a spoiler to anybody. There are rocks in the land of Aru.
And people throw things.
But in the original script, nobody mentions anything. They don't mention a rock. And there were, we fought about whether we should add something into the script saying, well, I'm going to throw this rock at you or something like that. I was like, no, nobody talks like that. So we fought about it for a while, and then it is in there. There is a line in there, which I was like, okay, that feels not unreasonable, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we need it, but so I do the sound design, we mix it, we come back to that, and then Bill says, yeah, I don't think we need that line about the rock anymore. I'm like, well, no, we're leaving it now. So you always know. So everybody always knows. Everybody always knows you can make these things happen without the words. And it doesn't always work. But it's so exciting. I had to sound design someone hugging was one of the most exciting things to me, because I was like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You record people hugging. You make sure they wear crinkly clothes.
Well, I'll tell you this: it's not about what the sound actually is. It's always about what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Yeah.
Taking a knife out of a sheath doesn't actually sound like taking a knife out of a sheath.
Right.
Because it doesn't sound like anything. So the hug. And the actors did an amazing job of, because we had to record everybody separately. COVID was happening, and
oh wow,
and all of this, so it was very, very challenging. And they're amazing. Dana Powers, who plays Aura, is one of the best actresses I know. She is incredible, and but with her and the other people she was hugging, Ruben Garfias, they both just make, again, separately, but they're just. And then you take those sound effects, layer them, add some cloth sound effects, add sounds for when they're running into each other, and the audience fills in all the blanks themselves.
Yeah.
I have a breakdown almost every time I start designing stuff, because it's a blank slate, and I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do this? But it's
Now-
almost like anything else where you just kind of build it, you think
layer
of
it.
layer it and
Yeah.
don't, trust your audience. That's what I always tell people when they're wanting to design. Go, look, trust your audience, that they're not stupid, that they can follow along. And if you trust your sound design, they'll feel. And if, let's say, somebody else is like, oh, that was funny when she hit him. And I'm like, I don't care if you saw her hitting him and it still tells the same, the story and the relationships are all there. It works. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be what I design. It just has to be something that you see and you accept and go forward.
Well,
I
and I
love-
have a question about that. How much
Yeah.
of the sound do you have just like tons of sound effects that you've recorded? Do you do some of it like live in a sound studio? Like how much
Shane's
of it
actually a
is
Foley man.
a little bit of both? Yeah. I mean, I saw some
Yeah.
videos. I saw some behind the scenes videos of We're Alive, and there's some of that stuff was actually, people, recording sound live.
Yeah.
Not live, but you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Recording it. And then that. So how much is that and how much is,
I mean, even with Real Life, we have
library you have?
a lot of sound effects. So Car Serum is we have a lot of sound effects that are from libraries and all these other things. But there are some times when I'm like, I can't find this one. I need it to be a little bit different. I need it to be, and so we'll go in and we did a Christmas Carol, like I said before, and we have sound effects of chains. But it was so much easier and more natural to go in with chains and basically listen to Jacob Marley doing his lines, played by Rob Paulson, and then we shake the chains as he's doing his thing, so it just makes it all together.
Very natural.
The one of the things that I spent so much time on with Car Serum were the footsteps, and with We're Alive, I spent a lot of times with the footsteps as well. It was one of the biggest things for me. But with Car Serum, I was fortunate to get a little controller so I could play on this little piano thing, the footsteps, and I could change the shoes, what they're walking on, all these things. But every single character that you hear that's walking or moving has their own track of footsteps. You can't always hear everything, and the way we mix it, if you're gonna sit there and be like, well, that's that person, that's not what you're how you experience it. But those little tiny details that we put in allow your subconscious to see more. And that's another really hard thing, is to realize, I'll spend hours and hours and hours mixing or designing, putting in all these tiny little sound effects. And the reason, so we have somebody who mixed and mastered, Tim McCowan, who is amazing. But I'm not good at it because I know what all the sound effects are there. But I need somebody else who's like, well, I need to know, they mix it naturally so that things are lower. And it makes it much more of a real experience, because I'll sit there and be like, well, the footsteps need to be louder because I spent hours doing them, but it's not, it's not important. So it's a mixture of both. It really is. I mean, if you go to carserumtheseries.com, you can see a bunch of behind the scenes videos and interviews and stuff. And if you go to Dana Power's interview, you'll see her sword fighting. We actually had her go out with a friend and who was a sword fight teacher and taught her a bunch of lessons, because when she's in the booth, we need to know what these actions are, what it feels like to hold that sword, how you move, because those actors, with the sounds they make and the efforts that they're creating, are also painting this whole world.
Right.
And accompanied with the sound effects, it gives you this, cinematic idea.
Wow. Yeah.
No, that makes sense too, because it's easier for the actors to, when they're putting in the effort to swing that sword or do things, they're doing that naturally, as opposed to trying to act like they're putting in the effort.
Yeah. And we don't have visuals to fall back on. We have a 5-10 pound weight that we would hand people and go, this is how heavy your sword is. Because even when you're doing, we have some of the best animation and video game actors in this. But even with animation, you have somewhat of the visual to fall back on.
Right.
So if the voice doesn't have the weight, you're still watching the character have that weight, and so your brain fills in those gaps, and it's like, this is great. And you know, it's just it's a very collaborative thing, because with us, people come in all the time with an idea, and we'd say, well, let's see what you have. And sometimes people came in with something totally different than we had in our minds. And instead of going, yeah, that's not what we have in our minds, it doesn't matter. We wrote it. We own the intellectual property. We go, great, let's change this scene to be much more interesting with what you've already come up with. We had somebody come in, Cameron Crowe, the director.
I was about to say, I watched that clip.
Yeah. He amazingly just found his way into our lives and really enjoyed what we were doing. And he's a friend of ours now. And he, but he came in and we had this part written, and originally it was written for like a very large, tough, like brooding guy. And he came in and started doing that. And we're like, well, he doesn't fit that at all. Not it. So we changed, and this there's a dozen stories of this kind of thing. Where he comes in and we're like, well, let's change this scene, the story, it's the same arc and everything, but the scene changes to be this other thing, because that's what the actors brought into us. And Bill and I very much pride ourselves in that malleability of working with people, and it's why I think people like working with us, and why we like working with people, instead of us going, yeah, this is what you got to do. It's, well, let's figure out what all of this is and play with that. And when we were writing, I made it very clear to everybody involved that I didn't really we didn't write characters with genders in mind, actors and on all these things for the most part. So any character could have been any gender. Any character could have been written, different ages maybe, but for the most part, and in the world of Aru, those things aren't, there's those prejudices don't exist. Prejudices they don't exist. There are people that hate people and those kinds of things. Magic is a big thing, but I had everybody sort of watching out for, like, we don't say, well, you can't do that, you're a girl, that kind of thing. That's not a thing. It's, you're tiny, you can't lift that boulder. Sure.
Just sheer physics. Yeah.
Right. But it was very important to us. And again, that's why we wrote things, there's same-sex couples and things like that. And it's not that we wrote them necessarily. It was just how we cast everything. And I find, I find I have pride in that team effort of going, well, it doesn't matter. Let's see who fits where. And if the character changes with whoever comes in, great.
That's amazing. That's really cool to hear that your characters aren't based necessarily in gender or, or race or whatever else, because I always feel like the audience can tell when you've written a woman character, a female character, and they're doing things because they're a female character.
Yeah.
Or they're being treated as that because such. So it's really refreshing to hear that from the very get-go, you didn't have that in mind. These are all characters of the story.
Yeah. I mean, there are, I will, in all honesty, I knew, we had our writers' weekends, and after a while I was like, I'm going to play that character. So I knew certain things like that, but the writers didn't know. We didn't tell the writers who was that. So that's kind of a thing. But I tried to have, we had two other main writers. It was myself sort of overseeing, Jojo Hendrickson, who really helped with story and structure, and then Aaron Castellan and Laura Davey, who wrote at least first drafts of all these scripts. And I really wanted everyone to be aware of these things, because there's going to be times when I don't notice it, or I don't think it's a big deal, but somebody else is like, well, we're doing that thing. And I think it's very important to have the self-awareness of, there are things that I won't know. Come to me, tell me about it. We'll talk about it. I might agree or disagree, and it might change or not change, but I really want to know if we're doing that. And there are things that I listen back now that I wish that nothing big, but there are times when you're gonna miss something here and there. Like you're paying attention to 12 other things and somebody throws in, man, and you're like, damn. But we're working on it. And I think that's, that progress is important. And it again opens everything up to the actors to really bring to life. And let's be honest, as the creators and producers, we got to take credit for it all anyway. So who cares whose idea?
Right.
Come on.
You're absolutely right. That makes totally forgot about that.
Yes.
Coming back to the actors and looking at this cast list, you've got an incredible cast. Like you said, there's some big names. We mentioned Neil and Maurice and Rob, and I saw Jane Lynch is in there. And there are some really great, just like voice actors from anime and video games. What was it like working with these people? I mean, it sounds like it was very collaborative based on what you've been telling us.
Well, so Bill Holmes, who I've mentioned a number of times because I have to, because if he's listening, he's going to be very angry with me. And I'm pretty sure Jojo Hendrickson is going to be listening. So Jojo, tell Bill that I mentioned his name.
We're putting that on social media.
There you go. Yeah. But Bill has been in the voiceover industry for a very long time. He's from Chicago. He's very funny. He worked with Second City, and he actually came up in voiceover with a lot of these people. So he was, he knew, and he used to direct at, he directs now. He directs video games and a bunch of other stuff, and he's fantastic. But he used to direct years ago at this audition thing, and so he's met a lot of these people before they were coming up. So sometimes he can just call somebody and go, hey, we're doing this thing. Do you have any interest in it? And because of my history and because we did a Christmas Carol like in 2011 or something, and people sort of found out about that in the community, they were like, oh yeah, I'll come in. That sounds great. That sounds like a lot of fun. They're doing it because they think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it almost always is. People come back because they had so much fun.
Right.
And it was the first time I met Neil Flynn and Bill used to do sketch comedy together back. They went to high school together. Like they knew each other since high school.
Oh, wow.
First time I met Neil, he was in A Christmas Carol, and I was a little bit starstruck because I had watched Scrubs a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, Neil, just go. No, that's not true. He's one of the nicest guys. But every time we had one of these iconic people come in, I mean, we have like 4 different Ninja Turtles in this thing.
Yeah. I mean,
and they were so excited to be here. They were so humbled to be part of this at the same time that it sort of, you watch these folk. Gray Delisle is one of the nicest people.
She's legendary.
She's legendary, and she's so nice. I know her. Fortunately, I know her outside of this project too. But they come in, and you just see why they're so good at why they've been doing it for so long, because they make these choices just out of nowhere, and they don't get me wrong, some of them are very, self-conscious about this stuff, about am I good? And you're just sitting here going, how do you not know how brilliant you are?
Wow. Yeah.
This is insane. But it's not, after they start working, it's not so much the starstruck, like, oh my gosh, look who I'm working with. It's, oh my gosh, you're good at what you do.
Wow.
It's like watching Baryshnikov ballet.
Ballet, yeah.
I am so proud of myself that I pulled out that name and
what he did.
Ballet and what he did. But it was, as an actor, it was awe-inspiring, and you pull out these, little gems of people, and to realize that it comes down to this confidence. Whether you actually feel confidence or not, it's just like, okay, here's a choice. Let's just try this out. I'm going to go full out with this thing and see what happens in it. And it's great. They have that play. Richard Horowitz, who is Invader Zim, or Daggett from Angry Beavers. Right? That's his whole thing. He's like, I play. It's just a bunch of play. I'm on the playground again. I don't go out, I don't come into from the recess and go, my Luke Skywalker was not great today. Does anybody have notes on if I could have swung my lightsaber that I made up in my brain? So that's what they're doing. They're just having fun and playing.
Yeah.
And it's not, again, it comes down to, I think almost all art that is turbulent and or gets destroyed, or partnerships or anything like that, it comes down to, it's an ego-based thing. It's, I need my idea out there instead of, the thing. And the self-awareness of knowing, okay, where's the ego? And don't get me wrong, having a healthy ego is very important, because you've got to know your worth, and you got to know, when you're being taken advantage of and all these things.
Sure.
But when you take that away to do the play, to do the work, it is so much fun for everyone to just, there were sessions that, my stomach hurt from laughing so hard, just because everybody was just so happy to be there and be working. And it was amazing.
Well, I think that shows in the work too. I mean, if the people aren't enjoying what they're doing, and there's not that love and passion for the project, I think that authenticity and sincerity just doesn't come through. And you can, as an audience, I think you can tell.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you.
And I've only listened to the first episode, but I'm super impressed and super invested now, just after the first two parts. The sound design is impeccable. The acting is incredible. This is definitely something that I feel like for all of you, for all of you that are listening, the one person listening, you need to listen to this with your
There are 4 people viewing right now.
Okay.
So
Hey,
there will be more listening in the podcast. That's typically how it works. But
all 4 or 5 people, all 4 or 5 of you, you got to listen to it with the headphones on, because the immersion you get with the headphones is really great. The sound design is incredible. I'm really just fantastic.
One day I want to have it so you have like the 3D VR experience without visuals.
Yeah,
you can turn your head and look at different people. I want to do that. That's we don't have the budget for things.
That's the next step, right?
That's a goal
after
of mine.
You sell those TV rights, maybe you can.
There you go.
I want to ask we're kind of coming up on time, so I want to make sure we respect your time. But I do want to ask: is there one actor or voice actor out there that you're dying to work with, because they might be listening? That's kind of like, I mean, you've obviously, like we were just talking about some legends, and I mean, and like I said, Gray Delisle is her voice acting IMDb credits are like longer than
decades.
And it's
my whole family, and I have 6 children. So
it's really upsetting how friendly and nice and honored these people are too, because you're just like, well, give me something.
Yeah.
Give me some reason to dislike you.
Right.
Come on.
Who are you dying to work with? Who's somebody out there that is just like, wow, if I could get them in a studio, that would be awesome.
Well, we do have another series that we've been working on, and we're starting to write season 2 of Car Serum in a few weeks. So hopefully we can get some of them. But I mean, as an actor, I've always wanted to work with, or just have dinner with, Dick Van Dyke and Steve Martin are 2 of the ones that come to mind.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
As a voice actor, I've always wanted to, again, I work with him or not or whatever. Mark Hamill would be really great to meet. And we have certain circles that we go around in, and Bob Bergen, who's a good friend of mine, who plays Porky Pig, which I think is really funny, because he's also Luke Skywalker for a lot of the other stuff. So I'm like, I've kind of met him. It's fine.
Maurice has a good Mark Hamill too, I've heard.
Yes, Maurice does do name something Maurice doesn't do well.
That's fair.
I mean,
that's
come
fair.
on.
He's the great Mo. So
he's
amazing.
He is, and again, they're just such friendly, warm people.
Yeah,
I could not be more honored to be able to say I've worked with these people, except to say I've hung out with some of these people, and outside of any of the fancy stuff that they've done, they're great people to go hang out with.
That's awesome.
It can't get better than that. Just be like, oh well, if you meet somebody once and you're like, oh, I met this guy, whoever, some celebrity, Meryl Streep, and you're like, that was really cool, and then you realize, well, you could just hang out with a very cool person, and you're like, well, that's way better.
That's way better.
Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've won all kinds of awards for this too, right? I mean, like it's been up for this one's been nominated for some awards, but you've won other awards for audio drama as well, right?
Yeah, Carcerum has won a number of awards at this point. We were the first ever podcast to win Best Podcast at the Holly Shorts Festival recently. We won the Las Vegas International Film Festival for Best Podcast and some communicator awards and some other stuff like that. So
wow,
it's
congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
that. I wanted you to. That's why I brought it up because I wanted to. I love the fact that film festivals
are now
recognizing audio drama as like another as a similar form of entertainment, but it's like the theater of the mind.
Well, and I will say that some of the film festivals maybe are just be like, well, we have all these because there are some film festivals that are like, we'll just take podcasts. And you're like, great, that's a very wide range of things.
Sure.
But it does show that there are people that are starting to pay attention to these things and going, there is a real art form here. And the more, even if they got into it just because, well, let's grab some stuff, they are paying attention. And it's a fun evolution. Yeah.
So do you have any like advice for someone that would want anyone out there listening, the 4 or 5 people that are wanting to start like an audio drama?
I would say rob a bank first. It will be very easy.
Rob a bank.
Bank first. What I would say is that realize that nobody really knows. There are so many different styles of radio drama, audio drama, whatever you want to call it. And, you can do, you just have a book on tape. You can have, a bunch of friends just doing a reading. You can add minor sound effects. You can have major sound effects. Find out, think about what you want to do and then try it, because there's no map. There's no guide, and you can change it halfway through. Don't let people tell you it's stupid. Don't let people tell you it's bad. If you're worried about that to begin with, you're already going to be in trouble. At this point, make something that you want to make, because unless somebody goes, hey, here's a bunch of money to make what I want to make, great, take it and make whatever the hell they want. But don't make it because you think it has to be made that way. Pick a style, pick a genre, pick an auditory theme that you enjoy and that you like and that you want to see if you can do it. Because if you start going, well, Carcerum did this, so I have to do this whole thing over here, or well, these other, Welcome to Night Vale did this thing, so I have to do it that way. If you start doing that, you're not making your art, and you won't enjoy it. And the only way to get through all of this, because it's not easy, especially when you're trying to do it all yourself, the only way is to constantly remind yourself that you're enjoying it. And I know so many projects, either short films or features or, audio, where people stop halfway through because they just I kind of just stopped enjoying it. And that's a great reason to stop. Don't get me wrong. If you're not enjoying it, stop.
Right.
But start with enjoying it. And I think you're going to do a lot better.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Good advice. Yeah. Okay, guys, did you hear all that?
Well, I'm inspired because we're actually doing a little audio. We did a teaser for it already months and months ago, because we were supposed to start it already, and it just hasn't happened.
Life.
But yeah, life. Well, it was when I had the idea, that's when Rachel started, going through chemo and things like that. There was a lot going on, but I'm still very excited about it. But we're doing a little hybrid audio drama with our film nostalgia discussions thing.
Nice.
And yeah, we did a little teaser, and if you want to find out the kindergarten picture on the refrigerator, equivalent of sound design, you can listen to what I put together with that. And then I listened to Carcerum and I'm like, what am I doing? This is not, how do I get that sound? But no, it's just for fun, and I'm hoping they'll learn more as I go. And,
that's
my
the goal.
First dabbling in it. I do video production for a living, so audio is part of that, but audio has never been my forte. So it's a whole new experience, but it's a lot of fun. And it's inspired by We're Alive, and other, well, you mentioned Night Vale. Welcome to Night Vale was another one that I got into initially. There's one called one I really love, and I don't know if, The Truth. Have you ever listened to that? It's amazing. They're like one-shot episodes, and
it's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
All the things that you've just mentioned. The thing that I find incredible is that every single show that you mentioned are different styles. I wouldn't consider necessarily all of them audio drama, or depending on how many characters there are, but they're all fiction, and that's the amazing thing about it, is that you can talk about things like you talk about movies, because we have more language to talk about movies, where a mockumentary, or found footage, all of these things, or a drama or a comedy or a blockbuster. So if you talk about a movie, you're like, well, what's that like? Oh, it's this like big epic blockbuster thing, versus, oh, it's this independent sort of thing. And it's amazing to watch all of these different audio styles and to come out of the woodwork, and to have people start to realize that it's not one thing. Because I had people years ago saying, oh, so it's like Wars of the World. The Orson Welles' Wars of the World. I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
That is an amazing thing, but our style is not that. If somebody said, oh, you're like Welcome to Night Vale, I'm like, we're not.
No, it's
very different than that. And so, but it's, again, it sometimes can be very frustrating, as in somebody who's like worked in this and trying to explain to people what you do, as most of us have parents who probably don't understand what we do. But it's also very exciting to have to start to watch people actually listen to you when you talk, because they're like, well, I've heard about all of these things. This is so much more prevalent in society now. I really should listen and find out what is going on. And it's so much fun to engage with people more and more about, what's happening.
Right. Well, let's take this moment now. Tell everybody where they can find Carcerum, and how they can find out more information, where they can follow you, all the ways that people can enjoy the stuff that you're working on. And in particular, I want to personally ask where I can find the Christmas Carol, because I'm going to add it to my listening in December, because I love the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I love every version that's ever been made.
Oh,
I
nice.
love to see, although my favorite has got to be the Muppet Christmas Carol.
As it should be. I think
that's the best definitive one, as far as I'm concerned. But it really
Simple
is
Michael Caine's
so
best work.
faithful to the book. It's amazing. Like,
all of them in our Christmas Carol, every single Muppet is there. They're just silent characters.
They didn't have any lines.
Silent characters.
There you go.
But they're all in it. No.
But tell our audience where they can find you and find out more information.
So you can find Carcerum anywhere you get your normal podcasts, or you can go to Carcerum the Series. That's CARCEREM, theseries.com, and you can find all the links. You can find behind the scenes videos there. You can find us on social media almost anywhere at Carcerum the Series. At Carcerum the Series. I think Twitter is at Carcerum S, but if you write at Carcerum the Series, I'm sure it's going to pop up too. It's
Google knows.
Yeah, Google knows. And you can see the whole list of cast and crew on the website, and keep up to date with everything. The Christmas Carol, you can, if you go, I really got to update this website, but go to christmascarolradio.com, and you can see behind the scenes videos there. Find out where you can get it. You can get it on the iTunes store, I think, and Amazon. Audible, that kind of stuff. But it's at Carcerum the Series, and you can also hit us up. I love engaging with people. If you have theories or art, or want to get involved or something, hit us up.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. It's really a great pleasure talking to you. And like I said, it is an inspiration. It's one of the audio drama has been one of you mentioned War of the Worlds. We had that on vinyl when I was a kid. My dad had a copy of that on vinyl. So really, that was probably my first exposure to that type of storytelling, right? And so, and because of that, I was inspired to go listen, to other things on, and find cassette tapes and stuff at the library. My mom was a librarian, so I had access to a lot of that kind of stuff.
Cassette tapes are music and audio delivery devices.
You know what?
I think you're a little too young for that.
He says that like it's insulting to you. I don't.
Right.
It's more condescending to himself.
Right. I was going to say it's more making fun of myself than it is you, Aaliyah.
You know what? You guys know you're seasoned. It's fine.
That's right. It's true. That's what we call it. We're seasoned. We're not old. We're not old.
We don't like that word here.
Well, I mean, again, I grew up listening to these things when I was like 4 or 5 on cassette tapes. I went into a meeting once and I was talking about all of these things, and the guy stops me once. He's like, "Stop, just stop." I was like, "I'm so sorry." What? He goes, "How old are you?" And I was like, 22. He goes, "You should be 80 before you're talking about this stuff. This is ridiculous."
Listening to it in the living room, all gathered around the radio, listen to Little Orphan Annie, and drinking your Ovaltine. Yeah, that's
right. Make sure you have your decoder.
That's
right.
I think it's so cool how one of the things that you've mentioned is this passion started from when you were a child, right? There's a lot of people that say, like, go back to your childhood and think about the things that you loved. And I used to ask my mom that type of question all the time. Like, what did I do as a child? And the only thing she ever told me was you were always playing outside. And the one story was like, the reason she stopped checking our pockets when we were kids, when she would do laundry, is because we used to put dead worms in our pockets. And so I would just I'm like, great, that's what you give me. That's how am I supposed to work with this? What am I supposed to do with that?
Have you tried fishing? Have you tried
fishing? Fishing sounds
that might work for you.
That might be your career.
Did you read the book How to Eat Fried Worms?
No, but I just I think that it's really amazing, that you could look back on your childhood, even for yourself, Jeff. You guys can look back on your childhood and be like, you find the correlations, right? I think that's really amazing.
And it's weird. My uncle was the first one to give it. I remember the Christmas very well because he gave me this cassette thing of 10 episodes or 10 cassette tapes of Gunsmoke, which was the longest running TV show of all time, but started as this radio show.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know it started as that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I Love Lucy was originally a show called My Favorite Husband that was a radio show. Dragnet, which is one of the longest running IPs.
That one I did know. I've listened to some of those.
There you go. The Shadow, Blue Beetle.
Love The Shadow, yeah.
Superman. All of these things. Lone Ranger, anyway,
all the,
I remember the Christmas because on the cover of that thing was like it was a gun and a star and something else, but I thought it was like a costume, and I thought I gotten a costume for being a cowboy, and I was really excited. And I open it up, and it's this thing. And I was very, very confused. Fast forward many, many, many years later, when I'm starting, I'm a year into doing We're Alive. I call my uncle and say, "Hey, I wanted to let you know I'm doing these things, and it started because of these things." He goes, "I have no memory of giving you that. I don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "Great, I'm so glad that we've had this time together."
Literally, you call him up to tell him that he's literally influenced your entire life, and he has no recollection of it at all.
None. He has none.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna again, thank you so much for being here.
Anytime. I've had a great time.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, maybe
Absolute
when
pleasure.
season 2 comes out, we'll get together again and talk theories about what's going to happen. Hopefully, we'll listen to all of them by then.
Or maybe game night. I feel like he'd be great for one of those.
Oh yeah,
you guys do a game night?
Have you ever played Jackbox games?
Yes.
You know those? Yeah.
Yes.
It's supposed to be every Tuesday, but life gets in the way sometimes. So we're doing it every other Tuesday until further notice. But yeah, we have friends. When we get on here, we do it live stream. Jackbox.
Any game. Cool. I love games.
All right.
I will skip dinner if I get to play games. I love games.
You should do Extra Life next year. 24 hours of games to raise money for your local children's
Absolutely.
hospital.
I'm not great at video games, but I'm getting better.
It doesn't. You know what? It doesn't have to be video games.
Tabletop board games.
Yeah,
you can roll dice.
I did a 12-hour D&D marathon
Squid Games
with a friend who's a DM, professional DM. He did a 12-hour marathon, and I got to play with them just to raise money.
I have Settlers of Catan and Risk on my phone right now, and Clue. And I gotta say,
perfect.
I gotta say, he's an amazing director. And I'm not going to tell you who, because he just texted me and said, "Why haven't you said I'm an amazing director yet?" So I'm not even going to tell you who it is.
Awesome. I have a inkling who it might be.
It doesn't matter. He's just a great director.
He's a great director.
Awesome.
Say less. Say less.
Thanks so much. Again, I want to remind people though about our that contest. I'm going to bring it up on the screen again real quick. We are giving away this Stadia Premier Edition. Since we mentioned games, I will show it again.
And that's all it is. It's a controller and that thing that plugs into your TV.
Yeah. I mean, I literally have a bunch. What is it? Can you tell me what this thing I entered is?
Yeah, so it's literally a game console that's actually a Chromecast dongle, basically. So you can plug it in, and you're playing games and like legit 4K video games like Cyberpunk 2077. I just got Far Cry 6 for it, Resident Evil Village, games that are on the next generation consoles, but you don't have to download anything. You don't have to wait for downloads. You just
have to
plug
spend
it in.
thousands of dollars on a PC.
You do need a reasonably good internet connection, but it doesn't have to be the blazing fast fiber. And well, we had
just be Spectrum.
Well, we had
they should be.
Yeah. Well,
no, because they don't like Spectrum. Oh my Lord.
I would love it if they became a sponsor.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
No, well, we just never got the service we were supposed to have. That's long story short. Like they said, we were supposed to get this speed. We never got it, and then fiber came in our network, and I'm like, I got it. Or in our neighborhood, I'm like, easy. Nice. And it's actually cheaper than what I was paying for Spectrum.
See,
it's
fiber
much faster. Yeah,
right.
Well, they should be. Let's see. What are we using? It's Kinetic by Windstream. If I say it, maybe where's my
a check will show up.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping that.
Oh wait, there's a donate. No.
I'm looking to see. Yeah, I do. Hold on. Yeah, every time I say Kinetic by Windstream, we'll do that, and hopefully they'll send us a check.
Nice.
No. But yeah, you can play games literally streaming through the cloud. Like it's kind of mind blowing that it even works at all.
Wow.
And
I'll need it for next year to play games for 24 hours.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you can do it on your laptop. So, even a laptop that you're like, oh, this laptop, I couldn't buy Far Cry 6 because my laptop can't handle it. Well, guess what? Google servers can. So you can play it. You can also, there's an app for Android phones. You can play it, and that controller can sync with your phone, and you can literally play, high def games on your phone.
On your
it's crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
On a tiny little screen. You can
or your iPad, whatever. I'm just saying, the iPad, I tried on the iPad. I had some troubles. I didn't say I said Android phone because they're still having some issues with Apple. Every time they do an update, Google's like, what are you doing? You're trying, and so they have to fix it. So
I'm an Android girl.
Yeah. Well, see, you'll be able to play this. Well, not this one because you're ineligible to win.
Samsung has a new podcasting app that they have.
Really?
So Samsung has a new podcasting app, and you know what? You can find Carcerum on it.
What is it? What is it?
It's local, so it's relatively new in the last couple of months. So make sure that your show is on it as well, because you can find it and put your show up there.
Oh, you have to submit it.
I think you do. I think you do, because I know I did.
Let's see.
But
call Samsung.
So, wait, we got a comment from the Peanut Gallery out here.
Crap TV.
Okay, so. I thought about it earlier. So we also do something. We have a network called Crap TV. Bill Holmes's company is called Compost productions.
Nice.
So we have
great.
We have compost reality adjacent programming, or crap TV. And we do, during the pandemic, we started getting very like itchy and angry and as everybody did. So we started doing live game shows every other Friday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, how hilarious.
We have two. We have is the answer that you wrote on your card the same as the answer that I wrote on my card? And then we just had a show on Friday, which was North Hollywood Cubes.
North Hollywood Cubes.
North Hollywood Cubes. So if you go to craptv.online, you can watch all of our old stuff and then get updates on when we do ones. And you know what? I'm going to put you guys on the list for all of you to be, contestants and stuff on the show. You can win up to however much money we feel like giving away.
That's fair.
Awesome. Sounds fair.
All right.
I would be totally up for that. That's amazing.
Always down for an extra dollar.
I'm actually typing in the URL now because I want to be able to check it out.
craptv.online.
Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, again, I keep starting to end the show, but this is what I love. I mean, literally we tend to do this where we end the show, and I'm just going to tell people this. So we end the show and guests don't leave. Like I say goodbye and they stick around, and we just, because they don't just like rush off when we're done. We talk for a little bit afterwards, and sometimes some of the best conversations are like right after I've stopped so I've started recording after that. So if anything cool happens,
really?
I'll put it on. Man. Yeah, you guys gotta be careful. No, I'm gonna start maybe throwing it on Patreon or something like that. We'll
Geeks After Dark.
That's right. There we go. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Gad.
But yeah, I do want to go ahead and sign off here because my family wants to see me probably at some point. And I still have to edit this for the podcast portion tomorrow. So it drops in the middle of the night. But thank you again for being here. It's great. I definitely, so yeah, we'll see if what are you doing Tuesday night? Maybe we can get you on this game night. We can check it out.
Let's see. I don't know.
I don't know what did we decide? 7 o'clock we're starting. 7 to 8:30.
I'm around. And then it's daylight savings, and it's like, which hour is it?
Was it 7 o'clock that we started this?
No, 8.
Came back?
It was 8.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, where are you guys? Yeah, what time zone?
We're in Cleveland. Eastern. We're in Eastern.
I'm in Los Angeles. So
yeah. So that
you're 3 hours behind.
So the others?
Yes.
Yeah. 3 or 4. Yeah, whatever.
So you'll be 5.
We'll make it work. I'm down.
All right. I'll send you an email and we'll see if we can make it work.
That would be great.
So there you go, guys. Listen to come join us on YouTube and Twitch for game night. That's not on the podcast, so you're gonna have to actually get off of your phone and come on the internet to watch it, and then you play along on your phone as the audience. So
can you play with the thing I'm gonna win?
I'm assuming they're listening to the podcast on their phone. That's how I do it. I don't know. Maybe you're listening on your computer. Who knows?
You know what my sister does?
I'm just glad you're listening. Thank you.
Yes,
we love you.
My sister literally watches the podcast and game night just to see when I'm done.
Yeah.
She just waits.
Well, my family, they don't watch.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That would be how they can tell. Because they hear me still talking and they're like, is he still recording? And I stopped recording like an hour ago. I mean, not this time. Obviously, we're still on the air. But yeah, they're like, is he done? Can we talk yet? Can we, turn on the TV? What's going on?
Oh.
That's why I'm up in the attic.
Yeah. I don't have that privilege. I'm literally right off the living room in a little fenced off area.
I am in the living room.
Yeah,
you are the living room.
My sister came home from work, poor thing, and she wanted to make something to eat. And I'm looking at her like, you better not.
You better make all of us something to eat.
Right. At least make enough to share. I mean,
there we go. Well, thanks to everybody who has listened to this episode of The Podcast is Real. It was real. It was very real. Thank you again, Shane Salk. Make sure to check out his podcast, Carcerum, and even go back and listen to We're Alive. That one was really good too. It's great. We'll see you guys Tuesday for game night on YouTube and Twitch. And next Sunday, it's Writers Month because it's NaNoWriMo. And so we have Shane is a writer, coming? And then we have some writers coming. So we'll see you guys next week. And I talked too long for the entrance or the exit music because
we didn't hear the exit music. So
yeah, was it on?
It was really quiet in the background because I added in later. So,
Okay.
again,
I mean,
it's one of those things.
That's great exit music.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
It wouldn't be a World Gone Geek show if there weren't technical difficulties.
there you go. All right.
What was that, Aaliyah? What'd you say?
We'll see you